In today's social studies class, we are learning about the transportation of then and now with this book by Nadia Higgins. Let's go! Chapter 1, By Foot and Water. What do buses, boats and planes all have in common? They are forms of transportation. Long ago, most people traveled by foot. Many Native American tribes like these ones lived near rivers. They traveled by canoes. Today, we travel by land, water or air. How do we get around? Let's find out. This is a covered wagon, how people used to travel by land a long time ago. In the 1800s, settlers headed west. Horses or oxen pulled covered wagons. The ride was bumpy. Wheels often got stuck. One trip could take months. These old forms of transportation were very slow. Chapter 2, Steam and Electricity. Along came the steam engine. This machine was more powerful than teams of horses. It made trains go as fast as cars today. By the mid-1800s, steam engine trains were full of passengers. Today, maglev trains use super strong magnets. They float above the tracks and travel at amazing speeds. Wow, that's high tech. The steam engine changed sea travel too. Sailing ships took weeks to cross the ocean, but a steamship could make the trip in days. By the late 1800s, steamships were bringing millions of immigrants to America. What do you think? In the 1800s, transportation was faster and cheaper than before. For the first time in history, ordinary people could take trips just for fun. How do you use transportation for fun today? Let me know down below. And this is an example of a steamship from the 1800s. After the steam engines came electricity. Meanwhile, inventors were experimenting with another form of power. What was it? Electricity. People in cities started riding electric street cars. These cars rolled on rails like trains. They got power from overhead wires. Soon, electric trains ran in tunnels underground. Subways were on the move. Did you know that in 1904, New York City's subway had 28 stops? Today, it has 472. Almost 6 million people ride it every day. More ways to go. By 1885, the gasoline engine powered cars, but cars were expensive. Henry Ford became mass-producing cars in factories. The price dropped. More people could afford them, and then by the 1920s, cars were everywhere. Cars are still popular today. Self-driving cars do not even need human drivers. They use computers and sensors to get around. Look at this driver reading a book in a car. And now comes the airplanes. In 1903, the Wright brothers became the first to fly an airplane. The plane flew for less than 1 minute. And then, by the 1950s, planes could fly over oceans. And today, at any moment, there are an average of 5,000 planes flying in the sky. And this is the first plane of the Wright brothers in 1903. Very different, right? By the 1970s, people were on the go more than ever. But cars and planes burn a lot of fuel. This causes air pollution. People started looking for eco-friendly ways to travel. That means environmentally friendly. Like what? Cars that use less gas. Public transportation cuts down on travel. What do you think? Do you ride a school bus? That cuts down the amount of cars on the road. How? Instead of many cars driving, one bus carries many people. What is your favorite eco-friendly way to travel? Let me know down below. And this is what a bus looks like today. And then there's the bike, which are easier on Earth. Why? Because they use muscle power instead of gas. Many cities have bike lanes. Some even have public bikes for sharing. What other clean ways of transportation can you think of? And how are they different from earlier forms? Let me know down below. Now let's take a look at how transportation has changed over time. How many of these do we still use today? And what other forms can you think of? First came foot, and then canoes, and then wagons, trains, subways, cars, and then the airplane. Now it's your turn to tell me which transportation is your favorite. Share with me why down below. After, I'll see you in the next video for some more learning fun. That's all for today. See you next time. Bye bye.